Even though Rodrigo had better terms, he still missed how he had the high position with King Sancho. Alfonso's favoured knight Garcia Ordóñez, Count of Najera, who would develop a fierce rivalry with Rodrigo. In 1079, the King of Leon summoned his best knights to go and collect tribute. Rodrigo was one of these knights. He was sent to Seville under Al-Mutamid. Rodrigo arrived at Seville. Al-Mutamid was at war with the Emir of Granada, and so the Emir of Seville called El Cid to honor their contract. Concurrently, the Count of Najera was sent for the same reason, and he had been asked the same from Granada, to which he gladly agreed. Rodrigo tried to be diplomatic, trying to resolve the conflict between the two emirs. But when the Count of Najera invaded with a huge Moorish army, Rodrigo had no choice but to confront him. He won a great victory at the Battle of Cabra, and he took his rival hostage, pushing his prestige. After Rodrigo's victory, Al-Mutamid offered many gifts for his success. King Alfonso heard of Rodrigo's success at the Battle of Cabra, although the Count of Najera slandered Rodrigo and his words deceived the king's mind. A year later, however, the Emir of Toledo attacked the castle of Gormaz and was defeated by Rodrigo. El Cid decided to pursue his foe without orders from his king. The envious count's words raised suspicion about Rodrigo, making him exiled. Saddened by the news, Rodrigo took his family seeking to help, being a mercenary soldier looking for work. The Emir of Zaragoza, Al-Muqtadir, received Rodrigo with open arms as an old vassal of King Sancho. Unfortunately, the Emir was old and ill, so he died shortly. This divided his realm between his sons, Al-Mutaman receiving the Taifa of Zaragoza and Al-Munhir receiving the Taifa of Lerida. Rodrigo would work with Al-Mutaman for 4 years, earning his trust and friendship, occupying a high position in the court of Zaragoza. With Al-Mutaman's new defender, Rodrigo defended Zaragoza from Al-Mutaman's brother, the Taifa of Lerida, King Sancho of Aragon, and Count Berenguer of Barcelona. In 1082, at the Battle of Almanar, the castle of Almanar was besieged by Al-Mutaman's brother and the Count of Berenguer. Rodrigo decided to pay Count Berenguer to stop the siege. The Count realized that his army outnumbered Rodrigo's army, so he refused the offer. Rodrigo had no choice but to tell his men to arm themselves and charge at the enemy. Count Berenguer's army was taken by surprise by Rodrigo's army charging straight at them, causing them to flee and break, making the Count being imprisoned himself. El Cid's victory made his neighboring kingdoms and taifas fear assaulting the Taifa of Zaragoza, giving him a new name city by the Arabs and Berbers, meaning Cid in Spanish. In that year, Al-Mutaman died. Then his son, Al-Mustain, succeeded the Taifa of Zaragoza. However, King Alfonso was faced by the offense of the Almoravids at the Battle of Sagrajas. The armies were separated by a river. On the left, King Alfonso's army, and on the right, Ibn Tashfin's army. King Alfonso's army consisted of Aragonese cavalry being hired as mercenaries, and his larger Castilian cavalry was on the second line. Ibn Tashfin's army consisted of men from all taifas across Spain, majority from Seville, and the second line he placed his warriors from North Africa behind the ditch. The battle began as Alfonso sent his Aragonese mercenaries to charge at the front line, crossing the Guadiana River. Alfonso's second general, at the front named Alvar Farnese, sent the front line of the Almoravids into a breaking force and started chasing them across the battlefield. Alfonso's Castilian cavalry charged at the Almoravid forces, making them lose morale. Ibn Tashfin had some reserves behind the Almoravid forces and sent them into a flanking attack on Alfonso. He sent one reserve to go and attack the Christian camp, and Alfonso was in panic, so he told his men to retreat. As the Castilian forces were chasing back to the camp, the Aragonese cavalry returned from their pursuit, and they saw Alfonso's army being on the defensive, so they fled the battle. The Muslims broke through the Christian forces and had a crushing defeat on Alfonso. The casualties were heavy on both sides, but this was a crushing defeat for the Christians. After the defeat, Alfonso needed to rebuild his army and called El Cid to be reconciled into his kingdom for the aid of the Christians.